All right. Welcome. This is yoga. Grab your props, a block and some kind of strap or ring. And then go ahead and just prop yourself up into a nice, comfortable seated position. I like to sit up onto my block because most people are a little bit uneven through their legs. We're going to reach our arms out into a T position. So usually we're just more tight on one side than the other, unless you're like ambidextrous, and then you might be the same tightness on both sides or looseness. Okay, so right now we're just stretching those arms out with our palms facing up. Feel into your breath. I'm going to be silent for a few breaths, but while I'm silent, just try to think of what your intention for your practice is today. And maybe your intention is just silence or self-care, self-love. But that's benefiting yourself, and whatever benefits you benefits all beings everywhere. So just breathe into that intention. All right, now with those palms facing up, start sweeping your arms upward. Let your palms touch at the top. Interlace your outer three fingers, so just your index finger is pointing up. Stretch out through your arms and feel your seat bones grounding down onto the gravity of the earth. Feel your breath lifted all the way up into the universe. Feeling the horizontal pull of the earth and the vertical pull of the universe in perfect balance within you. Good. Take one more deep breath consciously in. And when you're ready to exhale, let your arms come down and twist to one side, whatever side you naturally go to, and keep the twist. Stay here and breathe deep inhalations in and out. With each exhalation, see if you can deepen your twist and try to stretch even your eyeballs. Look behind you, behind that shoulder. 5 deep inhalations and exhalations. The next time you're ready to inhale, inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Big deep breath at the top, stretch even your fingers. And then when you're ready to exhale, twist your opposite way, exhale it out, let your arms help you as they come down. 5 deep inhalations and exhalations. Each exhalation takes you a little bit deeper. Remember, your eyeballs are stretching too. And the next time you're ready to inhale, unwind it, reach the arms all the way up. Wiggle even your fingers, stretch out through your arms. Breathe 3 more deep breaths, and then we're going to place our hands just down in the ground in line with our shoulders. Good, and on your exhalation, place those hands onto the ground, lift your hips up, and we're going to find the center of our mat in a tabletop position. Begin rounding and arcing, moving through your cat-cow. Inhaling into your belly when you arc your spine, exhaling into your back when you round. Make sure you make little movements, not just forward and backward, but also side to side. Three more deep breaths here. And then we're gonna find a flat tabletop back. Flatten up your back, extend just your right leg and place the toes onto the mat. Now stay here with those toes pressing onto the mat and little shifts side to side. If you want to just barely float your left knee off the ground, you can do that. So the point here is to stretch out your Achilles heel, really focusing on that Achilles heel into your calf muscle. And if you want to do a slight little lift in your hips, you can, and maybe just experiment with a little lift and then down, not like you're doing a full three-legged dog, but so you're really getting deep into Achilles heel, the arc of your foot, the low calf muscle. That's where I want you focusing on right now. As we age, this is something that gets tenser on people. And so this is preventative stretching. Before you start feeling that tenseness, stretch it out so you don't ever have to get to that point of feeling that tension. Or maybe you're already feeling that tension. So this is a great preventative or restorative stretch. Good, just about 2 more deep breaths. And then we're just gonna shift it to our other side. The same exact thing, just on your left side this time. Starting with just a gentle press, and then at your own comfort level, taking it a little bit deeper, maybe even floating that right knee so you can get really deep into this. And reposition it as needed if you want to go a little bit more on the pinky toe side, or a little bit more on the big toe side, or just all the way through all of your sides. Just about 3 more deep breaths here. Good, and on your next exhalation, lower both knees down to the ground, and then we're going to place the top of your hands onto the mat. You're not going to put a lot of pressure on there. We're just going to do a little stretch through the wrist. So it's your fingers pointed towards your knees, do a little lean back, and just feel into the stretch, into your wrist, all the way up into your forearms. Only lean back as much as comfortable for you. Do not put any pressure on your wrist. I don't want any weight on your wrists at all. If anything, the weight goes back even more so towards your hip bones. Good. 3 more deep breaths here. Good, and now lift all the way up onto your knees. Take your right hand, interlace your fingers around the left. Lift your arms up, both arms up. Start shifting your weight back as you stretch out your right arm. Stay here, keep leaning back, stretching out your right arm into the hand with your left hand. Lean back as much as you can. 5 more deep breaths. And on your exhalation, sit down onto your hips or onto your heels. If it's not comfortable to just sit down, then prop a block under you, something so you can comfortably stretch out. And it's a little stretch. You should start feeling a little stretch through your quads. Lean back just slightly, just enough so that you don't need your hands to support you, because we're going to take that right wrist and we're gently going to squeeze your wrist. You should feel a little space open up. And this is also a quad stretch. So if you can lean back just a little bit, I mean, this is great to have great posture, but if you can lean back just a little bit, stretching out through the quads, feeling a little engagement through your core. 5 more deep breaths. Good, and the next inhalation, lift all the way up. This time we're taking our left hand, interlace your fingers on the right hand, bring it all the way up. And then as you stretch out your arm and your hand, lean back, engage those quads. Good, 5 more deep breaths. And on the exhalation, lower back down just like you did before. Sitting onto your heels, maybe using a block to sit onto if it's not comfortable for you to sit onto your heels. And then now we're just gonna squeeze that left wrist, start leaning back just enough so you don't need your hands to support you. Your quads should start feeling like they're getting a stretch. Maybe even a little bit of a core engagement here. 5 more deep breaths, opening up that space on the wrist on the left side. And on that exhalation, we're just going to place our hands back in line with our shoulders, and we're going to come into our first down dog of the day. So curl your toes and then just press into your down dog. I like my first down dog to be a walking the dog, but if you want to, you can just do whatever is feeling good for you. But now our wrists are nice and stretched out. And I want you to open up those fingers and press into the index finger. Open up through the shoulders. Tuck your chin into your chest. Back nice and straight. And your legs can either just be walking or stretching. Good. And now cross your left ankle over your right knee. So it's kind of like a little bit of a figure 4 stretch. And then just bend your right knee and straighten. The left ankle is crossed over. Let me show you from a little bit different angle. We're crossed over and we're bending and straightening. Bending and straightening the leg that's on the ground. So you should be getting an IT band stretch here. Good, 3 more deep breaths. And start walking your hands back toward your foot. We're just gonna stay in this low position for a moment because I want the blood to come back down away from your head. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come into our broken chair. So start trying to balance. Bring your palms to your heart center, thumbs to your heart. Look at something not moving. 5 more deep breaths. Try to tuck in that tailbone. Sit deep into this. Good, now we're gonna stand up and move it into a tree. That same left leg, bring it onto your inner thigh or onto your calf, either above or below your knee. Palms can be at heart center, or you can bring up your arms like they're branches of a tree, and your fingers can wiggle like the leaves. Remember, a tree has roots grounding into the earth. As far down below it is above it. So ground into the ground and reach up. 5 more deep breaths. Good. On the exhalation, just release both feet down to the earth and come to the top of your mat. Stay here in your mountain pose just for a few breaths, remembering your intention, grounding your feet into the earth, lifting your head all the way up into the universe, and centering yourself into your heart. Good. On the next inhalation, inhale, reach your arms all the way up, lean back, deep breath. Exhale, swan dive down, hands come under your shoulders, and then find a plank line, either stepping or jumping into your plank. Breathe here, 5 more deep breaths. On the exhalation, bend the elbows in toward the rib cage. Point your toes, take your hands low on your rib cage, and then inhale, press it up into your cobra or your up dog. And then at your own comfort level, you can look side to side, stretching out through the abdominals. It's 5 more deep breaths. Good, and then curl those toes, press back into your downward facing dog, and breathe here. Walk your dog if that feels good for you, or just hold your down dog. Make this your practice, feel into your body, move around. And then when you're ready, cross the right ankle over your left knee. And we're just bending and lengthening on that left side. Make sure you're doing your opposite side than we did before. Five more deep breaths. Good, and then just start walking your hands back towards your feet. Give yourself a moment before we come into that broken chair, letting that blood come back down towards your head. And then when you're ready, start balancing. Taking your hands off the ground, palms together into your heart center, tuck in the tailbone. 5 more deep breaths and we'll come to our tree. Good, and then slowly start finding your tree with your foot anywhere above or below your knee, just not on your knee. Find a spot to look at that's not moving so you can balance, and then your palms can stay at heart, or you can find your branches. 5 more deep breaths. Good, and on your next exhalation, slowly start bringing your palms together, your feet down to the earth. Come to the top of your mat. We're gonna take some sun salutations. So reach up, all the way up, lean yourself back, deep breath in. Exhale, swan dive it down, hands come under your shoulders. While you're here, feel the stretch through the legs in that forward fold. And then step or jump into that plank line. Nice and strong. Take at least 1 deep breath. Exhale, lower down. Point those toes, hands come low in the rib cage. Inhale, lift it up. Breathe through this. Maybe look side to side. Give a stretch through the sides. And exhale, curl the toes into the down dog. We're going to stay in down dog 5 breaths. You can hold it or you can walk it. All right, and then when you're ready, bend those knees, shift your weight back, gaze forward, and either step or jump all the way up by your hands. Place your hands onto your legs above or below the knees. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bow down. And then let yourself round it up through the vertebrae, vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly coming up. Reach your arms all the way up. Breathe in, stretch even those fingers. Open up, breathe into the heart. Exhale, swan dive it down. Hands come under your shoulders. Find that plank line. Plank line, deep breath in. Exhale, lower. Point the toes, hands come low on the ribcage. Squeeze elbows in, lift up. Take a moment to stretch through those abdominals. And exhale, curl the toes. Down dog. 5 deep breaths. Walk it or hold it, or a combination of the two. Good, and bend those knees, shift your weight back, step or jump all the way up. Hands touch onto the legs, inhale, look up. Exhale, bow down, hug it in on the exhalation, and then inhale, reach it up. All the way up, feel through those vertebrae, lift those arms, deep breath. Exhale, swan dive down, hands under your shoulders, plank line, deep breath. Exhale, lower down. Point the toes, hands low on the rib cage. Inhale, look up. Look both sides as you keep that inhalation. And when you're ready to exhale, curl the toes. Down dog, 5 breaths here. Now, while you're here, if you want to give some attention to the top of your feet, you can move around on the top of your foot. So you stretch out through your pinky toe, through your big toe, on the right and left side. Giving attention to all parts of our body. Sometimes it just wants to move in a different way than the normal way, to give it some space, some breath, some light, some energy. Good, 2 more deep breaths. And on the exhalation, bend those knees, shift your weight back, step or jump up toward those hands. Hands touch onto the legs. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bow down. And then round it up through your vertebrae. Now, next time that you're up, your arms come up, take one of your wrists, pull it to the side and look to the side of the wrist that you have. 3 more deep breaths, just breathing into that side body. And other side. Hold on to that wrist, stretch out through the side body, breathe. And bring it back to center. Place the palms of your hands together. Have your feet a little bit, like about a fist distance wide, and your knees squeezed together. And we're gonna sit into a chair. Good, squeeze the knees together. Yeah, good. And just sit nice and deep, tuck in the tailbone. Pretend like your pelvic bone is a bowl of soup and you don't want your soup to spill. So tuck in that tailbone, don't let your soup spill. 3 more deep breaths, good. Draw that belly in. We're gonna twist in 2 breaths. On the next exhalation, twist. Whatever way you're twisting, use the arm to help you twist and just look up to the ceiling. Keep your spine nice and long. Keep twisting as you exhale. The inhale lengthens, the exhale twists. 3 more deep breaths. We're gonna come back into our chair and then we'll do our other side. On the exhalation, unwind it back into your chair. Sit low into it. Squeeze those knees. Tuck in that tailbone. Draw the belly in. Sit nice and low. Good. 3 more breaths. On the exhalation, we're going the other way. Whatever side you twisted, twist your other direction. Squeeze those knees. Twist out your internal organs. You're squeezing them. That's why we have to drink water after yoga. Because we're squeezing them and we gotta rinse them out with that water after this. Just like it's a wet sponge. 3 more deep breaths. And on the exhalation, gently unwind. Inhale, reach all the way up. Reposition your feet so they're hip distance apart and come to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms back, lean back, open up that heart. Exhale, swan dive it back down. Hands come under your shoulders. Find your plank line, stepping or jumping. Good, 2 more deep breaths. On the exhalation, bend those elbows, lower down, point your toes, hands come low on that rib cage, lift up. Baby cobra, cobra or up dog. And all up dog is just letting those hips lift up with it. We're gonna stay here 5 more deep breaths. Start looking behind you. One side and then the other side. Good, and then coming back to center, curl your toes, find that down dog position. This is gonna be our last down dog of the day. To make it feel good for you. Five more deep breaths. And on the next exhalation, step your right foot forward. Let your left knee dip down and then reach your hips back. Let that left knee dip down, reach back. If you wanted to, you could put a block under your hands to help you. And we're just going forward and back. Good, 2 more. And the next time that your legs are straight, keep them straight. Stay here with that leg straight and just breathe into it. Both toes are pointed forward. And now start doing little hip openers, like you're shifting your hip from right to left while still just looking down. Two more deep breaths and we're going to walk it to the center. All right, now put a little slight bend in this right knee and start walking your hands to the center and then let your feet pivot so they're both pointed forward. And coming into a straddle stretch. And this is almost like a down dog, but your legs are a lot wider than if you were doing a down dog. Yeah, and use that block to help you if you want. Releasing your hands under the block. And then just stretch it back. Press all the weight to your back. 5 more deep breaths here. If it feels good, just shift your hips right and left. Feel into this, breathe into it. Good. And then start bending your back, right knee, lift up the heel with a little bend in your left knee and pivot over to the left side. And both toes, both feet are pointed forward. Your feet are about hip distance apart, and then bend that back knee down and straighten up. Bend that back right knee down and then straighten up. You can adjust your stance as needed here. Just dynamically warming up into this hamstring. 3 more. 2. And the next time that the legs are straight, stay here, just breathe into it. Remember, use that block if you need to, with the option to shift your hips side to side. Good, 2 more deep breaths. And on the exhalation, bend your front right knee, step your foot, your back foot there, and then get nice and low. Tuck yourself in like you're hugging yourself into a little ball, and then just roll back. Rock and roll a few times. Roll back and up. All right, we're gonna find a boat pose. So balance yourself, open up through your chest, you have a little squeeze behind your shoulders, and then see if you can take those hands away. 5 more deep breaths here. Good. And on exhalation, place those hands back onto your legs, set your feet onto the ground, and then slowly lower your back all the way onto the ground, knees stay bent. Walk your feet up, close up towards your hip bones. Lift up through the hips, start walking your shoulders behind you, interlacing those fingers. So we're binding our arms behind us in a bridge position. Keep pushing your heels into the ground, getting up nice and high. 5 more deep breaths here. On the exhalation, gently walk your shoulders out. Feel your vertebrae come back onto the ground and get your strap or your ring or a towel or even a sock and place your foot, your left foot onto the ring. Your right leg could stay bent or you could let it go long and just start bending and lengthening through that left leg. Bend and lengthen. Try to widen those toes, extend through your heel. Good, and the next time that you have your leg long, keep it long, widen those toes, and hug in toward your torso. You could use one of your hands to gently press anywhere that's not on the knee, either above or below the knee. Just breathe and hug it in. Keep extending through that heel, 3 more deep breaths, and then we're going to take it to the left side. And on the next exhalation, take your leg over to the left side. Try not to let your right hip bone lift up off the ground. Try to keep pressing both hip bones onto the ground, especially your right one. Good. 1 more deep breath in. All right, on the exhalation, bring the leg up and take the ring or the strap in your opposite hand. And here's where your hip can lift up. Take that full spinal twist, look to the left, your leg is over to the right. If you need to, you could put a block under your shoulder or under your leg. And your spine should be nice and long here. 3 more deep breaths, just breathing into it. And on your exhalation, bring it back to center and we're going to switch sides. Take your other leg, your right leg, or just make sure it's your opposite one. And starting with your bend and your lengthens. Contracting and lengthening into the hamstring. Good, and keep hugging it in. Every time you come straight, hug it back in and bend. And the next time that leg is straight, stay there and just hug it in. Widen those toes, extend through the heel. Try to hug it in a little bit more towards your shoulder on your opposite side. So if it's your right foot, hug it in towards your left shoulder, but still plug your femur bone into the ground, extending through your heel. Good, one more deep breath here. On the exhalation, take it over to the right side without the left hip bone lifting up. So that left hip bone might want to lift up, plug that left hip bone back onto the ground. So you might even feel the stretch on the hip flexor on the left side, but also that right inner thigh should be stretching as well. Three more deep breaths here. And on your exhalation, we're coming all the way over to the other side. Right leg to the left, as far as you can go. Don't let those shoulders lift off the ground. Reposition yourself if they want to. And by positioning yourself, I mean just lengthening the spine a little bit more and looking to that right leg is to the left. Breathe. Two more deep breaths. And on your exhalation, bring your leg back to center, remove your props, lengthen your spine, adjust yourself so you're on the center of your mat. And then we're gonna do a few lift ups before we come into our Savasana. So I want you to just lengthen out your arms and your legs like you're about to come into Savasana. And then pull that belly button down onto the ground as you lift up through your limbs and then right back down. Try moving with the breath. Exhale, lift up the limbs. Inhale down. 5 more. For 5. Exhale up. Inhale down. 4. 3. 2, last one. And this time, just stay in that Savasana position. Take a big deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out your mouth. And just let yourself sink into the gravity of the earth. Breathe, feeling into your breath. Relaxing. And begin making small movements, wiggling your fingers and your toes, moving your head side to side as you blink your eyes, and bring your awareness back to the space around you. Hug your knees into your chest, give yourself a big hug, gently rock side to side, massaging through your spine. And then placing your hands behind your legs, rock yourself all the way into a nice, comfortable seated position. You can prop onto that block if you like. And we're gonna start or end the same way we started. In that comfortable seated position, arms spread out into a T position with the palms facing up. Chin just slightly lifted, allowing, accepting, feeling the love of the world, love in your own self. Recognizing that light within you. And on the next inhalation, inhale your arms all the way up, let the palms touch at the top. Exhale, bring it into your heart center. Your thumbs to your heart. Namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you, guys.